Hey everybody, welcome to ReversingGlass. I'm Matt Rose, Field CISO at ReversingLabs. The question that a lot of people are asking is, what is supply chain security? How am I supposed to attack this beast that is supply chain security? Is this something for the SOC analysts to deal with? Is this something for third-party vendors to deal with? But I have a different approach to this. And the title of the session today, as you can see above, is What is Supply Chain Security Scanning? So there's been a lot of questions about, how do you keep up with the processes? So supply chain security a lot of times talk about securing the whole supply chain, the infinity loop of DevOps. And this is a pretty common thing you see in presentations, and making sure the build systems and the open source packages and the binary repositories and the source code are all free of risk, completely clear in terms of a software bill of materials. But the thing that really people forget about is there is a deliverable, there is a entity, which is the binary that is created by this process. There's a lot of application security scanning technologies that look at source code or APIs or open source packages, the running application. But in terms of malware, behavior risk, CVEs, issues within the package, this is something that is kind of the final step of acceptance or understanding of risk. And you need a simplistic way to rate this binary, this deployable object, whether it's a DLL or a WAR file or something like that. Is it F in terms of supply chain risk, or is it an A in terms of supply chain risk? Should I release this to my customers? What does this SBOM look like that's being created associated with this build? And the second piece you really got to think about is speed. The speed of DevOps programs don't allow for constant checks and manual efforts. You need to automate the process of scanning these packages as part of this software supply chain risk profile. So integrating supply chain scanning or software supply chain scanning into your DevOps process to basically pick up that binary file, whatever it is, whatever language you're coding in, analyze that. And I mean reverse engineer it, rip it apart, find all the malware, the behaviors, even the goodwares. You want to know everything about this, and we're not doing a final check. We're doing a great job of looking for vulnerabilities, OWASP top 10, or licensing issues with open source packages, but we need to kind of take a step back and simplify supply chain security with supply chain scanning. I know it's not an industry standard yet, but I really like the acronym SCAST, and this is just me, this is not representing ReversingLabs, this is just my opinion, is supply chain application security testing. We're already going down the path to test these applications for vulnerabilities at the different pieces of the puzzle, the APIs, the open source packages, the source code, and I've said this a million times, but are we truly looking at that entity? And nobody's truly looking for malware. Questionable behaviors. Is this supposed to communicate with this API? Is this potentially a risky behavior? Do you know you're actually raising privileges within this process to communicate with something? Those are the pieces that really need to be understood. And supply chain application security testing or scanning for supply chain risk as part of that CI/CD process, I feel is paramount to the risk and to get ahead of supply chain mandates, the executive orders around self-attestation, what's in your application. You add the speed of releasing maybe 10, 100 times a day if you're a very aggressive CI/CD pipeline. How do you keep up with that speed? And simplifying and just saying, okay, we need the ability to grade this package. Are there things in there that I don't want? Is there malware? Is there the evidence that malware was there at some point? There's some things that are changed that we basically can see through reputational changes and research over the years. But why don't we kind of up-level supply chain and simplify it? Up-level and simplify kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but what we're really doing is you need to look at that final entity. Yes, looking at all the steps of this infinity loop DevOps program is beneficial, but the artifact that you're creating is the final thing that's getting deployed, that your customers are using, that your partners are using, all those type of things. So think about looking at that and giving it a grade and keeping up with the speed of DevOps. I'm Matt Rose, this is ReversingGlass. Hope you enjoyed the episode today around software supply chain security scanning. Love to hear you, ask some questions. This will be out in social, so hit me up. Have a great day.